Good morning, everyone. I'm Mary with Mary Greeley News. Thank you again for joining me. I was looking at images of Old Faithful. I hope they pan the camera over to the right. There looks like to be a new fault line down below and to the left of Old Faithful. If they don't show this, zoom in while making this, I'll add the image. The water level looks a little low there at the Firestone River. Yeah, and there's been a lot of activity at Grant. Those of you that have followed me will remember that Grant was an area that had an earthquake swarm maybe 3 years ago. Magma always tries to come up where there's the least resistance. An example, Mount St. Helens. When that erupted, it erupted out the side because there was less resistance off on the side of the mountain. And Grant was showing that type of activity, and it's also showing it today. Yeah, the river looks a little low. It had risen quite a bit. Let's see if they're going to zoom over or not. It's supposed to be, what, I think in the 40s or maybe 50s today there at Yellowstone. And the park is closed because of the coronavirus. Yeah, they're looking at these different areas. See, we got steaming in areas that did not used to show steaming. And it looks like they're checking that out with their camera. Let's see where else they might move the camera. Let me pull this over for you. Oh, they're going to move the camera. This here is Beehive. Alright, they moved the camera again. This is the area, which you can hardly see, where they had new springs, mud pools come up, back up over here. Yeah, kind of hard to see with all the activity that is going on today. So right now, I believe it's 48 degrees in Cheyenne, Wyoming. The high is supposed to be 58 degrees. Yeah, the camera keeps stopping and going. So while I'm waiting for them to move the camera, we'll look at some of the spectrograms and earthquakes that have been occurring there at Yellowstone. Yellowstone Lake still shows a lot of activity. Western boundary. This is supposedly a 1.6. Look at the heat that came up. The melt line. We have 3 lines of melt now. And I'll show you the signature. I believe it was higher than a 1.6. Possibly as high as a 2.0 or even higher than that. Here at Mount Sheridan, they show it as high, automatic by the computer, as a 2.1. It was 6.6 miles in depth. All earthquakes are measured from sea level, or 11.2 kilometers in depth. And it was 55 kilometers southeast of Old Faithful, which is down here by the little extensions, Little West Thumb. Yeah, it's showing UPLIFT again today. There's the earthquake. Yeah, that supposed 1.6. Now up over here in this location is one of the resurgent domes. This is the Sour Creek Resurgent Dome, and Yellowstone has 2 resurgent domes. One over here, and then the other one up over, kind of like in this location, the Mallard Lake Resurgent Dome, which is what we often see up behind, that's that hill, up behind Old Faithful. And you can see that we got a line of trees that are dead over here. Now remember, these trees grew up during what was called the quiet period of Yellowstone. When it was dormant. Now it's reactivated, recharging for another eruption, and the gases and the heat coming up are killing the trees, and you can tell where the fault lines are or at the cracks where the gases come up or the trees have died. Now, I pulled these files between 9 and 9:30 Central Daylight Time this morning. Yeah, we got a lot of earthquakes here, and there's a lot marked in red, and we have 3 lines of melt. I don't think I recall ever seeing 3 lines of melt before. Yeah, we'll come up here. The ones marked in red are what the computer picked up, and it was to alert the geologists of earthquakes, so that they can come back and review it later. Again, this is western boundary. Close this out and show you all the activity. I pulled files going back to Friday because we got all this activity that was going on. Look at that. Harmonic tremors. Harmonic tremors is when magma is on the move. Yeah. See this here, the thickening of the lines? And this would have been Friday. Now this is universal time. So we got some there and there. 3 lines of melt now. There in Idaho, they've had a lot of 2-point and a little bit higher earthquakes. Those earthquakes should not show up here. But it almost looks like we do have P waves. So, yeah, for how small they're saying those earthquakes are in Idaho. Yeah, yeah. So because they don't report a lot of them, it's hard to say. I mean, look at all of them in red. Did they happen at Yellowstone, or did they happen there in Idaho? You know, near Chalice. Alright, here we have the monitor. This is a borehole 208 for Yellowstone Lake. And again, this is the files that I pulled between 9 o'clock a.m. Central Daylight Time and 9:30 this morning. And we got a bit of activity out. Yeah, Yellowstone Lake's been showing a lot of activity. And with the activity at Grant, a little concerning. Now this is, 1151, which they don't have listed. We got 941, a 1.8, a 0.1 by Heaven Lake, a 1.6, that's the one I just showed you, a 0.3, again, near Heaven Lake, a 0.5, same location. They probably just got into work and they're doing these updates on this. A 0.3 today, again, Heaven Lake. A 2.7. Now that would be Chalice, Idaho. And Cascade, well, Chalice, Idaho. But anyways, looks like they're just getting around to listing what is occurring there at Yellowstone. The most recent, 941, which would be that one right there. And these they haven't reported yet. You can see there's lots of earthquakes. Okay, and there's the signature. Yeah, lots of activity. Remember, they got that crack, that fault line, the spreading down there in the middle of the lake, going from near where the monitor is for the Yellowstone borehole for the lake, down to about where the island's at. About the same depth as the other ones. 11.2 kilometers, which would be what? About 6 miles in depth. There's its location. Like I said, they got uplift going on again today across the park. You can tell that by the locations of these earthquakes. These earthquakes are caused by the magma coming into the system and pushing up on the dome. It does have a cap of rhyolite, which does not allow the gases to escape, and it just makes the ground more brittle. That's why they figured that Yellowstone wouldn't have a large earthquake prior to an eruption because the ground has become so brittle from the uplift on that rhyolite cap. Yeah, I wish they'd move it down back to Old Faithful so I could show you that new area of steaming. It almost looks like a fault line or a crack that has opened up there. You can see over here we got the 20th, which is today, Monday, April 20th. And yeah, so these, what's this one? We got 737. That's that 1.6 I was talking about. Alright, what else we got here? Yeah, lots of little stuff. We got another one in red. Look at that. The line of melt. 318. That one is not being reported. You know, these are not caused by traffic because the park is closed. And we'll come up and look at, got another one in red. Let me pull that up a little bit. At 12:14, not being reported, and it's not Chalice. 11:19, not being reported. And then if you look up over here, all the choppy sawtooth drum beats. Yeah, drum beats. Magma on the move. Now this would have been Friday. This is the 18th. See the date over here, the 19th? Yeah, a lot of activity on Friday. Another one marked in red. Yep, harmonic tremors. This one is not marked in red, but it's harmonic tremor. Yep, a lot of heat coming up. And this goes through Friday. Like I said, right there it says the 18th. A lot of stuff going on there. And being a borehole, it's very deep under the ground, about 500 feet under the ground. Yeah. That's what we need with everything that's going on in the world. But as you know, it's not surprising. Could be a sign of the times of things to come. Yeah. So I wonder if they'll report these, which is 11:51, 11:52, and 11:52 and 50 seconds. And then this is some little stuff that was going on when I pulled the files. So I'm going to jump to Yellowstone Lake and Grant for the tilt. Lots of dots means lots of shaking, and look what's been going on since about the 18th. X is north. Remember, they're measuring, watching what direction the magma is traveling that's under the ground. Top is north, bottom is east. Lots of dots. Still ongoing. See, X is north, Y is east. The magma is moving eastwardly. This is the last 7 days. Each dot is an earthquake that caused uplift. And then, yeah, see how it's all messed up again. Last 30 days. We got dots way out over here. Again, this is east. Alright, Grant. Now remember, Grant was the area about 3 years ago that it looked like the magma was traveling, trying to come up. Yeah, look at the activity. Now these two areas, Yellowstone Lake and Grant's on the western side of Yellowstone Lake. Again, each dot for the last week caused uplift. And then the last 30 days. I hate it when they change the settings and you can hardly see what's going on. But look, we got mostly trending east, but we're also showing dots uplift in the north. And this is Grant. They moved the camera again. There again are the trees that have died off. You can see the steam from the fault line. And yeah, of course, the dead trees follow along that fault line. And look how dark that steam is getting. The steam is dark because we have particles of rock from the heat of the magma coming up. Yeah, melting that rock and, yeah, rising up. Not a good sign. I've seen it as dark, as black as coal in the past. Yeah, it's a bright sunny day, so you can't say it's caused by clouds and shadows. Right now it's 10:16 a.m. Central Daylight Time. This is what it's currently showing. Here we have Yellowstone Lake, Madison River, which I'm going to show you next. And then down here is the western boundary. So this here is Madison River. Harmonic tremors right there. We got this marked in red, the most recent, which is 7:28. Look at the heat that's coming up. Remember, I've talked about in the past, they've had 40 smaller eruptions since the last major eruption. But the last major eruption, when the two resurgent domes collapsed at the same time, it did a counterclockwise unzipping around the outside edge of the caldera. And it started up in the Madison River area and worked its way down towards Yellowstone Lake, just below Yellowstone Lake at Heart Lake, and then the two calderas, according to their research, erupted. So this is Madison River, and look at the heat that came up, 7:28, that's universal time, and that earthquake is not being reported. We got another small little thing afterwards at 7:55. See that? And yeah, you can go through here, try and find these. Another one at 7:37. Try and find where these are at by these little divots. Well, we'll go here. See that? 13:26. Yeah, look at the heat. Holy cow. 12:11. And this is what it was showing when I pulled the file. See that little pockets of either hot steam or water that's coming up. Look at the signature. Alright, we'll go up here to the harmonic tremors. Yeah, see all that heat? Look at that. And we'll pull it up. Got another one in red. What's going on here with my program? No wave data. No, I don't think this is the one that stopped. Yeah. Why is there no wave data? How can they do that? Withhold that? How can they interfere? It shows it marked in red. Huh. That's a first. 2 lines of melt. You definitely can see that there. Okay, we'll go there where it's really dark. Yep, harmonic tremor. Screw wave. This is an actual screw wave. Yeah, look at that. And we'll come up a little bit higher. Lots of stuff in red. Yeah, see, these are the hot gases and water. See the lighter colors that are rising up? Now this was what, when was that? That would have been the 18th. Yeah, we got the 18th over here. The 18th. And then, yeah, look at that. Look at all that activity for Madison River. Like I said, we got UPLIFT showing again. Across the board, across the park again. Yeah, and it doesn't take a large earthquake for an eruption. Yeah. A lot of people will say, well, get your tinfoil hat out and start ironing it. But I report on a lot of different things that, yeah, turns out to be true. Like the coronavirus, I reported that in November, and then I think I did 2 reports in December, and I told you guys to get prepared. Yeah, Yellowstone is definitely recharging for another eruption. Yeah, this is not good. Okay, they zoomed in at Old Faithful, sort of. I wish they'd get a little bit closer. I'm going to add that image. Let me get that image of the steaming from, I think it was right, yeah, it's right there. And I got it a little bit larger for you. This is what I pulled this morning. See this right here? This was steaming away. And I watched it for a little bit, trying to see the fault line, which direction the uplift was causing, you know, was it coming around in a circle this way? Was it coming around in a circle this way? But you notice this here. I'm wondering if this new fault line travels up to the left here to this other little steaming that was going on. And I have never seen that before, of all the years that I've been watching Yellowstone. Now, there was a area where they used to have the camera, where the trees had died off, and they've removed those, along the bottom side of the boardwalk. But I have never seen steaming in this location before. You can still see we got snow on the top of one of the hotels and the cabins over here. This is the area of the steaming, and I wish they'd zoom in a little bit closer again so you could see it. This here, these are little spider webs on the camera. The camera's up on the roof of one of the hotels. Now this one isn't too dark. The steam here looks nice and white and fluffy. Yeah, the camera keeps stopping. Alright, the tilt meter for Norris Junction. See all the dots? Yeah, a lot of vibration going on. Top is north, bottom is east. Last 7 days. These readings come from boreholes, very deep wells. And yeah, they got the numbers fudged so it doesn't show. Yeah, X is north, Y is east. And then, yeah, down here they got it going back to when they first started monitoring what was going on at this borehole in 2010. A lot of data missing, and they reset it a lot. Yeah, the uplift kept going up, 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 and they reset it. Up, up, up. Madison River. Look at all the dots. Lots of shaking going on since about the 18th. And yesterday. Today is the 20th, and it only goes up until midnight. Yesterday. Last 7 days. Last 30 days. And we'll come down here to how they were tracking the uplift. Now this goes back to 2011. See the spike? Zip. Zip. Since last year. The tilt for Panther. Now this is up by the Montana border. Yep, lots of little dots. Uplifting going on. X is north, Y is east. Uplift, the magma under the ground, traveling eastward. And then the last 30 days, yeah, we got uplift. And we got a dot way over there. This is the last 30 days. And then, yeah, look at the mess. Now, they started tracking this in 2010. Yeah, a lot of data missing. And it was reset because of uplift. So, once again, there's that fault. So, if you watch the camera, you might check out this area. Here's the sidewalk, the benches, the snow. So, if any thoughts or comments, that's all I have for you right now. Yeah, uplift across the park again. A lot of activity going on today. Please stay safe. Always be prepared for a disaster. And I will talk to you later. God bless y'all. Yeah, Old Faithful's going off, isn't it?